Well, Randy, so you found a clump of hackberries. Those yellow ribbons, those are the ones they wanted to save.
Yeah, that's what you told me earlier, Jim. Just looking over the situation, it looks like we'll probably want to take out the smaller ones first and get those trees out of the way so we don't have anything in our way when we go to cutting our larger trees. The first thing I probably would like to do though is I'm going to clean out my area so I have good footing and I want to know that I'm standing on good level ground.
You mean clear out the sticks and the
I
stone there?
I don't want anything on the ground that could trip me when I'm starting to cut these trees down. Because your chainsaw's going to be moving pretty fast and you don't want an accident to happen. I'll probably also, I prefer to cut the trees off just about thigh high and then come back and cut the stump off later.
So why is that?
If you cut them off when you're standing, then if something does happen, you know, to make the tree go somewhere where you don't want it to, well, you can get out of the way a little quicker as opposed to being squatted down. So we've got the two smaller trees here. We'll take those out and then come back and get these larger ones, and we'll have to cut those a little different, so we'll talk about that afterwards.
In particular, how are you going to cut the small ones? You say it's different.
Well, I'm just going to probably just take a clean cut straight through them and cut them and just let them fall. Because they're not really big enough to do much damage, and you can kind of push them with a hand or something like that if they start to fall wrong. But when you get into a larger tree, you're not going to be able to move it as easy, so you're going to have to try to make it fall better.
Okay, well, let me get it out of your way, and I'll let you get to it. Well, that takes care of the smaller ones. You're talking about needing a different type of cut for the larger ones. What are you talking about?
Well, on a larger tree like this, it can split out on you when it's falling. So what you want to do is you want to make a back cut on the side that it's going to fall on first, and then come back on your other side and make the cut where it's going to fall. Because when you cut right here, make your first cut, your back cut, well, the tree will fall down and it'll kind of kick against the stump when it's going down. Otherwise, the tree may split out back here and kick back at you while you're cutting.
So your back cut's, the one on the far side is a little higher than this one?
I'll probably cut them pretty close to the same height and just let this one just cut back into it about halfway, and then just kind of come back from the other side right at it. And then the tree should just fall right where you want it to.
Okay, well, I'll get out of your way again and let you get to it. Now I imagine this one's going to be a bit more difficult. It's bigger and it's also coming off the side of this other tree.
Well, ideally this is going to be more difficult. We would like for it to fall back out this way into the clear area, but it's leaning the other way, so it's probably going to have to fall between these two trees here. So we've kind of got to watch out for this water hydrant over here on the right. And again, the same problem, it may kick back on you just like the other trees. So I'll probably make a cut on this side before I come back on this side. But to keep it out of the water hydrant, I'm going to leave a hinge over on the back side of it where I'm not going to cut all the way through, so when the tree starts to fall, that'll be holding it over there and it'll cause it to twist a little bit.
Okay, so you can aim the tree as you're dropping.
You can get it approximately where you want it. You know, I'll leave that hinge, and I'll just kind of clip away at that hinge just a little bit at a time until the tree starts to fall. And then as it starts to fall, I'll use that hinge to guide it, and then when it's going about where I want it to go, I'll just knock the hinge out and then get out of the way and let it fall.
Get out of the way before it.
Yeah, before it starts coming down. You don't want it on top of you. Smaller trees, you can kind of guide them a little bit with your hands, but this one here is going to go pretty much where it starts to go.
I imagine something this big, this size, you got to be real careful with making sure you clearing out
Yeah.
the area down below you and making sure you have a place to
Yes.
go.
You'd like to have an escape route planned out, you know, in case something happens. If it starts falling towards you, you don't want to back up and find a tree or something like that behind you. So, you know,
Okay.
plan ahead for, you know, what bad might happen. So you kind of got to look the tree over and decide, you know, what the best way to go about it is.
Plan for the worst.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'll let you have at it.
Okay.
Well, it looked like towards the end there, the wind was going to catch it and send it in the wrong direction.
Yeah, the wind is blowing out of the south, so it's trying to push it over into this tree here, and I had to notch it a little bit over on this back side over here to get it to fall back over where we'd wanted it to fall in the first place. You know, I had a route planned out for myself, you know, to get out of the way. But if a homeowner is thinking he might have a problem with something like this, then and he doesn't have a lot of experience with a chainsaw, he's probably better off getting help from a professional tree trimming service.
So get a situation like that where it looks like he's in over his head, just leave it,
Yes.
get a professional.
Yeah, I would leave it, yeah, and get someone and they would bring some ropes or something like that, and they could finish it and get the thing out of the way. You know, it's better off having someone come in and pay them than getting hurt and then end up spending time in the hospital over it or something.
Okay. Well, we've got this down. Looks like we can get some good firewood out of it. Are there any tips on cutting it up, limbing it up, and cutting it to length?
Yeah, Jim, probably my first tip I would offer on that is when you have your chainsaw, I'd try to cut back on this portion of the bar. If you get back in this area here, you're less likely to have an accident as to when, if you got out on the tip up here, well then as the chain's coming by, it tendency to cause it to kick back like this, and it could kick it back into you. And also I'd probably recommend to have as firm a footing as possible, and then again keep your work area clean just like we cleaned up when we started.
So you don't trip and fall over on the saw.
You'd like to have, yeah, good footing, so you don't want to fall over on this chain because it's moving pretty fast and it doesn't slow down real quick.
What about the branches that are on the bottom side of the tree as it falls? Get
Okay,
some tension on
some of those branches will hit and they'll have tension on them, so you'll probably want to cut on the underside of the branch that you think's got tension on it, so the tree will come down instead of, if you cut on the top side, it'll pinch your bar and then you're in kind of a jam, and you just prefer not to get into a situation like that.
Okay. Well, like we said before, chainsaw is really useful. Just make sure you use it safely. Now, if you want more information on chainsaw safety and in heating with wood in general, contact your county extension office. And just remember, be prepared, have good safety equipment, and operate that chainsaw safely.